What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the It's Real podcast where we talk about
shit.
Everything. I'm your host, Journey.
I'm your host, Leah.
And in today's episode, we're going to be discussing college.
Should you go? Should you not go?
Right. Is it right for everybody? That kind of thing.
Boom. And today's is just about to be a laissez-faire type of dialogue. We usually do our podcast kind of structured, but today is going to be like...
just let's talk.
Tomato, whatever. Whatever we say is what we say, but we ain't gonna make it too long because y'all know how we do.
Yeah, right. So.
And plus it's early.
And we kind of tired.
Tired.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into it. What are your views on college? Like, how do you? Well, okay, I guess we could say like, growing up, what were your views on college? Yeah.
Growing up, and if y'all hear, y'all already know in our last podcast, it's our refrigerator. So if you hear it's the fridge. But my views on college growing up, bro, like honestly, I always knew I was going to college because I always knew that that's what I had to do. Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't a situation where it was like you not going to college. Like even when I thought I was going to like go out into the industry and be a singer or whatever, like I still like knew that I was gonna go to college because that's just what we was taught, like okay, high school, college, call it a day. But and then also I knew I was really good at school. Like I'm really good at school, not to toot my own horn, but I am. And I always loved school. Like a lot of people hate school. I'm not that person. I love learning. I loved school. You know what I mean? Yeah. I didn't love getting up and all that other stuff and dealing with them whack teachers, but I loved school. Like I loved learning. So I always knew I was gonna go to college, but it was also a thing where it was like you were taught that you were gonna go to college. So
yeah. So you felt like, did you feel like you really wanted to? Like, say we weren't taught. Say like mom and dad were like, hey, like if you want to go to college, you can, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. Do you feel like you still would have been like, I have to go to college?
I don't think it would have been a situation where I have to go to college. I think it would have been like, I'm just gonna go because I think that I was programmed, not even just through mom and dad, or not even just through, I guess, I'm not even gonna say the church, but I was outside of the home. I was programmed by society that you go to college. So I was programmed even in school before you go to college that you're going to college. So right. It wasn't a situation where I thought I had an option, if that made sense. Mm-hmm. And then also, you know, we from Oklahoma. A lot of people go to trade school, and which is perfectly fine. I just didn't think that I thought trade school was like honestly true. When I was younger, this is how not aware I was. I thought trade school was for men. Mm-hmm. I thought you go for welding, plumbing, electrical, stuff like that. So I was like, I'm going to college. Like, you know what I mean? And I don't know why, like, I didn't realize that I would be a first generation college student. Mm-hmm. So I think kind of that's why mom and dad knew. It's literally like they structured me to go to college. So,
well, I guess my answering my own question for me, like, what I thought about college as a kid was kind of the same thing you thought. Like I had to go to college. It really wasn't a option because, I mean, not only like you said, not even just with mom and dad, like saying like, okay, when you go to college, this and that, blah blah blah. It was kind of like embedded in the school system as well. You know what I mean? Like it was never like an alternative for the people who didn't want to go to college. You know what I mean? They never gave you like an ultimatum, basically.
I mean, at high school, like in Midwest City, you had like VOTEC.
Well, I'm not even talking about high school. I'm saying like
the educational system in general.
Well, yeah, when we were like younger, like in like elementary school, like middle school and stuff like that, like they kind of like was like, okay, so what are you gonna do? Like, what do you want to be? What are you gonna, you know, kind of that thing. And I think, you know, that's cool. I understand that or whatever, you know, trying to get a feel of where kids want to go with their lives, but it's also putting pressure on kids at a young age. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because now you're making me feel like I don't even know myself. Now I gotta know what the hell I want to do. Like, you know what I mean?
That's literally the question that I'm trying not to get on no program societal rant and how we are conditioned and all that other stuff. But if you think about it, it's like you go into like freaking preschool and kindergarten and stuff. It's like, so what do you want to be when you get older and shit? You don't know no better. Like you don't know yourself at fucking 5 years old or 4 years old to the extent that society feels like you should know yourself. So it's like you just see some shit on TV or maybe what your parent is or somebody in your family.
And that's what it was for me. Like people, like they asked me in elementary school, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? A fucking cop. Like, what the hell I look like being a cop? I don't want to be no damn cop. Like, it just sounded good. You know what I mean? Like, or a firefighter because my dad was. Like, I don't want to do that shit. Like, it just sounded good.
Like, for me, I remember at Pleasant Hill, shout out. Oh, I love that school. But I remember at Pleasant Hill, when we were asked what we wanted to be, it was, oh, it's a butterfly. Y'all, that's my second spirit animal. But anyway, so for me, it was, what's my first? No, Red Cardinal. But anyway, when you got spirit animal, totem animal, well, I'm not, this is not that.
Okay.
But anyway, so for me, it was like, I either wanted to be a pediatrician because I don't know why at 4 years old I loved babies. That's how you know in my past life, it had to been like some correlation within that.
And that's another
in one
thing,
of my past lives.
That's another thing, like, just thinking about how that's kind of imposed on young little girls, like, babies and having baby dolls, and you 4 years old, you a baby yourself.
Yourself and you had a baby doll.
I ain't even gonna talk. Right, I ain't even gonna talk about that.
But I wanted to be I wanted to be a pediatrician, but also because I wanted to be a doctor, and it was like I really feel like in a previous life, or maybe it's ordained in this life that I'm supposed to be a doctor, because you know I want to be a counseling psychologist or whatever. But yeah, so I wanted to be Dr. Leah Richards.
You just wanted to have that name in fucking front of you. That's the only thing.
But I wanted to be a pediatrician because, like, I loved kids and stuff as 4 years old. But I always said, like, if I didn't want to be a pediatrician, then I wanted to be a singer. So it was either a singer, a pediatrician, and then, like, I would see other shit on, like, TV, and I was like, oh, I could be that. Right. But not even truly, like, fully developed at 4 years old, knowing quote unquote what I wanted to be. And then if you say, oh, you want to be a pediatrician, college, you know what I mean?
But you know, see, I don't want to make it seem like this is just our opinions and, you know, kind of our experience. I don't want to make it seem like everybody who's ever said like, oh, I want to be so and so, you know, when I grow up as a kid, didn't actually do that, because there are some people who've been consistent. Definitely. Like, I want to be a doctor ever since they was a kid, and then now they're a fucking doctor. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? So I don't want to make it seem like that's everybody's story. But for the most part, people change their minds all the time. You know, especially a freaking kid. Like, you talk to our little cousin, like Amira, like she'll tell you she want to be a dancer one day, an actor the next one. Like, kids just
an astronaut.
Right? Like, kids they just go, and it's like I don't think we're ever really able to, I mean, I guess in a sense it is kind of expressing ourselves with, you know, changing, but it's still making us feel like it's still pressure put on us, you know what I mean? Like, because I remember being a kid and in school and just saying shit like, I don't even want to do this, but like when I got to high school, that's when stuff started to get like real serious. Like, I had to make my mind up, you know?
Yo, like high school really don't get me wrong, like I said, I love school, but I don't like this shit. The educational system that's ran by the puppeteers, I'm not going to get into that, but that's ran by the puppeteers is really a conditioning programming mindset. But at the same time, like, or going with that, it's like high school, I love the experience and I love learning, but it's like they pushed you to do this, like pushed you for this direction. Your college professors ain't gonna do this. Your college professors ain't gonna do that. The time to know what you want to do is now. The time
and I'm like, don't even know if I want to go to college.
Right, but you like bro, like you're a teenager within those years, and you have teachers telling you need to know what you want to do. You need to know what you want to do, and you got motherfuckers going to college with an undecided major because they just don't know. And that's not a bad thing. Like,
it's not a bad thing. People think that you have to literally, like, it's high school, college, and then you get a job. Then like, that's not, I know
slavery.
People, right? I know people who graduated from college and it took them a minute to get a job. Like, it's fine. it's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? So for me, I was like in high school, like maybe my freshman year, I was like, okay, because I was big on like HBCUs. I was like, bitch, I'm going to HBCU. You can't tell me shit. I'm gonna be up in there like fucking school days. You ain't gonna tell me nothing. So, like that's I was really like focused on that, and I had a best friend at the time, and we both were like, yeah, we're gonna go to like HBCU down south somewhere, Trinity. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we was like, yeah, we're gonna, all that stuff, and that shit like went out the window. Like it went out the window for me because I never actually wanted to go to college. Like even in middle school and
you
stuff.
You didn't
like,
want to do fucking school.
I hated school growing up. I hated school. Like it just was not my forte. I wasn't really great at school. Like until I got to high school. Like I started to take it more seriously when I got to high school. But like in middle school and elementary, I was like, fuck this. Like I don't care.
But it's just the way. Like I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But also within that made me think about how it's Western. It's like westernized structured, like the school system, the educational system is like that. So how we as Black people learn is a little different, and it's kind of like when we aren't fitting into what the normal is, then we are put in remedial classes, or we're held back, or they diagnosing us with ADHD and all these other things. And it's just like we, as far as I'm trying to, say words not offensive. As far as just how we are culturally, it's different. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just different. And when you go into a school system that really structures something in a specific Eurocentric way, and I'm not saying that nothing is bad, right, or wrong. I'm just saying for experience, it's just kind of like difficult. You have a lot of people who's like, well, this isn't for me, but it's not even a situation where it might not even be for you. It's just not structured for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
I don't know. For me, like I said, I always loved school. And it wasn't even about like, for me, okay, two things. I always knew how to fucking pass. Like, regardless if I understood the shit, like, I knew how to pass. And I'm not saying, like, understood, like, I didn't get the material. I mean, like, regardless if it wasn't structured for me culturally, so to speak, I still knew how to navigate around it. Like, my mind knew how to be like, okay, this may not be how I innately like know how to do this shit or whatever, or it comes to me, but I still knew how to navigate around it. That's one thing. And the second thing is, I remember we was talking in class, and I can't remember if it was like Miss DeBose or maybe it was in middle school. I don't remember. It could have been Miss Joseph. It was a Black teacher.
Name dropping.
I mean, so it was one of our Black teachers, and I say that to say because we didn't have many Black teachers growing up in the school.
I didn't have my first Black teacher until 6th grade. Oh wait, no, I forgot. Never mind.
Pleasant Hill was a little different. It had a little bit more of diversity, but like as far as
like I'm talking about real teacher. Like I mean, not like they weren't real teachers, but like that's preschool. You know what I mean? Like,
well, anyway, like so one of my teachers was saying, I remember we was talking about Lil Wayne or something like that in the classroom, and my teacher was like, y'all really don't know that Lil Wayne's IQ was really high. And I was shocked as hell because I mean, I didn't know that at that time. I didn't know that a lot of rappers were, I guess, school smart or book smart or whatever. So she was just saying like, Lil Wayne's IQ was really high. And she said, he basically said that school was always easy for him because the answers were always right in his face. He just had to find them.
That sounds like some shit Mr. Bose would say.
I don't know. It was either Mr. Bose or Miss Joseph.
It sounds like something they both actually
would say, right? But when that teacher told the class that, I said, you absolutely right. Like, the shit is easy. Like, it's right there in your face. You just have to find the answers. Like, a teacher, or it'll be on a fucking piece of paper, like, what is this, that, and the third? Go to the book and find the answer. Like, it's there. You just have to find it. But a lot of people didn't think like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just how I interpreted school. So it's just like, the shit's right there.
I didn't interpret school like that. Like I said, I didn't get it until high school. Like, because I mean, it might have been like just lack of motivation for me in middle school and elementary school, which I think is something else like they need to kind of like work on a little more, like keeping kids motivated, because just sitting in front of a fucking teacher talking all day, you know, reading out of a book, you know, copying out of a book, that shit is not, it's boring. You know what I mean? You're not gonna be interested in it. Like, especially a little kid who's like, mind is everywhere. Me, like, I get distracted like that. So I was like, y'all need to do something else besides this shit.
Right.
So I think that had a little bit to do with it. And also, I didn't really have good teachers. Like, I had decent teachers. Like, when we was at Pleasant Hill, they were great. Some at Monroe.
I'm about to say it's a couple at Monroe that was straight.
A couple. I can name on one hand. But, right. And anyway, so when I got to high school, like my freshman year, my grades was kind of up and down, and I was feeling kind of embarrassed because like my sister's grades were good, my friends' grades were good, and I was feeling bad. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take this shit like really seriously. Like, I'm not fucking around. Like, so after that, like 4.0, like straight A's, some B's, like my from sophomore to my to my senior year, like it was just kind of smooth sailing for me. Like, I didn't fail any classes. Like, that was, you know, kind of my goal was just to have straight A's, and I kind of like succeeded. So, but yeah, like when it came to like sophomore year, I thought I was gonna go to the military because that was kind of like the alternative, like especially in Oklahoma, like because we're like a, you know, Air Force based state. You know what I mean? So it's
everybody
thought they was gonna go to the military. So that was kind of like, if you don't go to college, you go to the military. And what?
I remember that little spurt period of time when I was gonna go to the military to be a registered nurse, right? And, And I remember that a recruiter came and I raised my hand. I was like, "Do y'all got a height requirement?" And he was like, "I believe it's like 5 something." I said, "Well, there's my motherfucking dream because I'm 4'10", so that just wasn't even."
Yeah. So I was just like, so I was like in ROTC and everything, and I was like really doing like really good in ROTC. Was an honor guard, you know, all that shit. Like,
you took that shit mad serious, bro. Like you took that shit so serious. Like, you was going to the military.
Yeah, I was like, you couldn't tell me nothing else, because it was kind of like, it was like, I don't want to go to college. Like, I know that is not what I want to do. And my dad basically really I would say both my parents, but it was really my dad that was like, okay, so what the hell you gonna do? And I was like, well, military. That was the only other option.
That shit pissed me off, bro. It's literally like, and I can't blame our parents. I can't blame our I'm sorry. You just looked a little irritated. Did I cut you off?
Yeah, you keep cutting me off, but it's fine. Yeah.
You know, when I have a thought, it's hard. I'm working on that. But anyway, my ego is working on that. But anyway, so I just feel like it's kind of sad, and I do not shame our parents or their parents or anything like that for pushing their children in a certain direction, because that's how they were taught. But it's just kind of irritating when it's like your family, and other people's family may not be like this, but for us it was like military, college, or you better go get a job. And it was just kind of like, and our parents never, like, as we got older, they kind of like backed up off of that. Like, it's not a situation, like they kind of not guided us, but let us be who we are. But I'll just see like my family, and it's like, those are your options, and if that's not what you're gonna do, you gotta leave. And it's like,
or even talking mad shit about you, man.
Right.
It's talking like, cause I mean, we've had, you know, cousins or, you know, not siblings, like aunts or whoever who didn't go to college, and you know, we just kind of know how the family is towards that. And it's like, it's kind of fucked up, you know.
It is, but it's just a little irritating, because everybody is, when they come down here, they have a specific path for them. But it's like you start to program them and push them in a path that you deem necessary for them. Yeah. We don't sit there and ask our children, what is it that you truly want to do? Mom, I think I want to be a plumber. And then all of a sudden, that's something wrong, because plumbers are looked at in this type of way or
Plumbers
whatever.
actually make
really good money, but it's just like,
and I'm not. They may be not even want to do it for the money. Like,
right? They might really like to be a plumber, but instead you're like, you don't think you want to go to college? That's already, when you're doing that, you're already saying there's something wrong with what they want to do.
Yeah.
Literally, when you give them an ultimatum, I think I said the word right. When you do that, in a way, psychologically, you're already telling them what they want to do is wrong. And I get it. You want them to have options. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's a wrong or right. But what I'm saying is you have to kind of critically think like, okay, what I'm doing is kind of shunning what my kid is saying they want to do. You know what I mean?
Like, I don't think parents necessarily think about stuff like that. There's this thing that I don't know if I want to talk about it because it's kind of like whatever. It's kind of touchy, but it's not bad. Like, I mean,
is it you?
Yeah, when we were kids, like I remember, like I used to have like, I used to be one of those kids that used to change my mind all the time. Right?
Yeah.
But I used to kind of still, shut up. I used to stay on the same kind of path, like what that had to do with like arts. You know what I mean? Whether that be music, whether that be television, whether that be painting, whatever. I kind of stayed on that path. But sorry, our dog is moving around.
Like, girl, go sit down.
Anyway, so I kind of like to stay on that path, and Leah was more like textbook kind of stuff. Like when it came to like school, it was kind of like there was a college route for it, but for my stuff, it was more like trade. You know what I mean? And my dad didn't really see that like a actual thing. Like it wasn't like a real thing. Right. So it was like you said, whenever, you know, you kind of like, you have to take a step back and think like, what am I saying like right now? Is that gonna hurt my kid going forward? I don't necessarily think that my dad was trying to do it on purpose, but there was this one thing that he said that I will never forget. And I was talking to him and I was like, I don't want to go to college. Like, I thought it was like high school. Yeah, it was high school because, you know, you were still here or whatever. Mm-hmm. It was right before you went to college. And I was like, I really don't want to go to college. And he was just like, well, what are you going to do? And I was like, I really don't know. And that's okay. When your kid comes to you and they tell you, I don't want to go to college, and you say, well, what do you want to do? And they say, I don't know. That's fine. Mm-hmm. It's perfectly fine. It's not like, you know, they have to have it figured out. So, because especially if you only put in college in front of them, you're not giving them other options, then they really don't know. So I was just basically like, I don't know. And, you know, we just kind of got into it. And he was just like, basically, everything you're telling me you want to do, it just doesn't make sense to me. Sorry. It's an ambulance.
Ambulance.
It's an ambulance. I said it's an ambulance.
No, I was talking about that video. The ambulance.
But basically, he was just like, everything you're telling me you want to do right now just don't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's not logical. It's not logical. It doesn't make sense to me. And, like, from there on, it just kind of made me feel like, well, damn, what I want to do, does it make sense?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I had to figure out a route to take. You know what I mean?
And then I think a lot of the times, like, when you have a child who... Well, for us, I think a lot of the times that began your comparison to me. Like, okay, well, since Leah's going to school, I have to go to school. Since Leah moved out of Oklahoma, I got to move out of Oklahoma. It started to compare because in a way, they did compare you to me as far as, like, the school and shit like that without saying it. It was just always kind of like, well, your shit doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
And this is what Leah's doing, and to me it makes more sense. And it's just like you're putting your insecurity and projecting that onto somebody else.
Right. And I think, you know, because our parents went to college but they didn't graduate. Mm-hmm. So I think they kind of expected it for us, you know what I mean, which is like bullshit, because it's like just me personally, I'm not trying to tell anybody how to parent or say that our parents parented us wrong. Like, no, I'm not saying that. Yeah, no. I don't want that to be what y'all get from this. No, I'm just saying, me personally, if my kid was telling me they didn't want to go to college, like, I'm going to do everything and anything in my power to help them figure out what it is they want to do. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying my parents didn't do that because they tried to, but they did it in their way. Yeah. You know what I mean? They still did it in their way. And it was just kind of like, I don't know. Like, it was still like, even after I said I didn't want to go to college, it was still like, you going to college. You know what I mean? Because
or you finna do something.
You finna do something, and like I was just like, I don't wanna go to college. So I wanted to do music. I wanted to be a music producer, and they were trying to, hook me up with people from the church and stuff like that. But I just kind of wanted to do it on my own. Like I kind of wanted to figure it out on my own. But I felt like I had to do what they wanted me to do. My dad got me in piano lessons, guitar lessons, all that stuff, which is great, cool. But I didn't necessarily ask for it. That's all I'm saying.
And it's okay. Like I said, like there's no right or wrong to this shit. We're all trying to remember and figure things out. But at the same time, it's just like you have to be careful what you're projecting onto your kids, because it's like you felt like you're not fucking listening to me. Like I didn't ask you for this, I didn't ask you for that, but you stepped out of your way and did the shit, and you're not listening to me. Mm-hmm. And that in turns that can make you feel some type of way. So it's just
that could cause a lot of problems that I'm working out in therapy right now. But that's another thing. But listen, I would just say, like, I'm not trying to like fault any parents or anything, but you really just have to listen to your kids. Mm-hmm. Like, and I don't mean hear what your kids are saying. I mean actually listen to what they're saying
and ask questions. Like, man. if okay, boom, you wanted to be, after you graduated high school, you wanted to do stuff with film and art and shit. I'm in Atlanta just trying to get my degree. Ring, ring, ring. I get a call from daddy talking about like, well, what is it that Journey wants to do? I'm like, I feel like Journey keeps telling you over and over what you wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And he would just be like, well, I keep sending her job applications and stuff. And I'm like, well, what kind of job applications? I sent her the post office, and it's
what the hell is the post? And he's still doing that.
And it's
almost
like,
3 years later, he's still doing that.
And it's like,
bro,
this is the thing. Ain't nothing wrong. If you want to work at the post office, baby, work at that post office. But my thing is, I kept telling him, I said, but you're not listening to what Journey wants. You're listening to what you want. So what you need to do is listen, ask questions, and go in the route that Journey is taking you in. Don't push into another route.
Don't push me into another route. And I think that that's something parents do without knowing that they're doing it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And they think they're helping you, or not even just parents. People in general do this. Mm-hmm. They think they're helping you with something by giving you all these. Hey, here's this. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Like, let me figure it out. I think that's the thing that people don't understand when it comes to other people's lives. Let them figure it out. It's really that simple. It's like, all I can do is give you advice. All I can do is be supportive of you. But if you ask for it, like, you know what I mean? Because there's time, I don't ask my dad for that shit. He gives it anyway. And it's like, I get it. You're trying to help me. I'm your kid. You want to blah, blah, blah. Like, you want what's best for me. But you have to listen to me at the same time. And I think that that's something that parents don't understand. So moving on from that, let's actually talk about college experience.
I was literally about to say the same thing. I was about to say, bro, we done did it again. Mm-hmm. But, okay, so I guess I can touch on, like, college experience and shit. And, like, it's that shit for everybody. Mm-hmm. So I knew it. If y'all follow me on Instagram, y'all see my little testimony. I was like, manifestation, baby. I knew I was getting the hell up out of here. But, wow. Right, I just needed to leave Oklahoma and experience something else. But I left soon as I graduated. Like, I applied, like, well, before I graduated, I applied to maybe like 5 or 6 schools and got accepted to all but one. And I did not get accepted to that college. I just didn't. It was like some other process they wanted me to do, but it was in Columbia, and I was like, I'm not going over there, so I want to stay over here. So it didn't matter. I just didn't finish that process. Mm-hmm. But I knew where I wanted to go. I knew I wanted to go to Atlanta, so I went to Clark. Loved it. I knew that was my school, and I got there, and it was honestly, to me, it was easy. Like, there was times where, of course, I needed help. There was times where I was like, fuck this shit, I'm leaving. But for me, college was for me.
Yeah.
You know, and it wasn't even just about the learning part. Like, you experience life. I got to experience life on my own in college. Like, not just life on my own, but I got to remember who I was. And when I say remember who I was, it's like when we come down here in these bodies, we forget who our soul is. So to me, I felt like I needed to migrate to remember, and I started to, and you know,
because I think people think I have to learn who I am. Right? It's not like you never knew who you were.
You just forgot when you got into this 3-dimensional experience. And so for me, it was like I cannot, like, I literally am so grateful. I cannot describe in words how much I needed to go to college for me, and not just for the educational part, because child, I mean, I loved every bit of that too. Like I said, I loved learning about my people. Like, I loved learning about my people. I went to HBCU, yes, love it. But I loved that part, but I also just loved remembering who I was. I also just loved experiencing other people. And for me, the college experience was for me. But while I was in college, I saw a lot of people who the experience was not for them. Yeah. Like, at all. Like, literally, the experience was not for them. And in the back of your mind, you kind of, let's be honest, you kind of judge these people, because it's like, well, why are you even here? Why are you even here taking this as a joke, taking this for granted? But at the same time, you have to remember, like, it may not be for them, but it's still a part of their experience. They still got to learn this shit regardless. Yeah. Like,
and then maybe they not even like really want to be there. Maybe it's kind of like a situation where they have no choice.
Where they had no choice, right? And it's just like, I don't know, bro. Like, the topic is like, it's college for everybody, and I just know, like, even in all that love and joy of college, there was a lot of heartbreak, because you're still structured, whether you realize it or not. Whether you're at an HBCU and realize the shit or not, it don't matter how much you're indulging in your culture, you're still structured around that same educational system that is ran by the puppeteers, whether you realize the shit or not. So in a way, I still felt like I was being structured to go in a certain direction. I was being structured to go into grad school. And I had a lot of professors that were saying, baby, if grad school not for you, don't go. Like, it ain't for everybody. You ain't gotta go. I had a lot of professors that were saying that, but I had a lot of professors saying, I mean, what are you gonna do with this psychology degree? You need to go to grad school. You need to go to grad school. And it was just like, fuck, I felt once again, somebody was telling me or trying to structure my path for me. Even with them motherfucking 5-year plans. Like, it pisses me off, because when you get to senior year, like freshman year, you're like, oh, 5-year plan. Sophomore year, I'm going to do this. Junior year, this. Senior year, this. I'm going to have this. All of this stuff. And then you get to senior year and you didn't do... Say you could have did everything on that. Say you didn't do anything. Say you did half of that shit. But in the back of your mind, for me, I didn't do all of the shit that was on my 5-year plan. I did some of it, but not all of it. So it's like senior year comes and you feel that guilt, and you feel like, fuck, you let yourself down. You let people down. And it's like, they already put expectations on you that in 5 years, you're supposed to be here. Like, that shit right there is a Eurocentric standard. Like, let's just keep it 100. Who the fuck, like, knows? Like, literally, you have no clue where you're gonna be tomorrow. Mm-hmm. You live in for 5 years from now. It's okay to plan. It's okay to, like, you know, have goals and shit like that. But it's also okay to be like, yeah, in 5 years, you know, when I graduate, I want to go to grad school. You know, I want to go straight into grad school.
But I don't know.
And for me, it was like, I'm going straight into grad school. I'm going straight into a PhD program. Then when I graduated, like, I want to say junior year, I was like, I'm not fucking going to grad school right after graduation. Then senior year, did I say junior? Yeah, senior year, I, like, you know, I knew that I was taking a year off, because it was just like, I needed a fucking break from all of these expectations and shit like that. So, I mean, the shit is for some people, but the shit ain't for everybody.
It's not for everybody. And I think I'm going to attest to the person that it's not for. Mm-hmm. or for the people who it's not for. Because for me, let's see, I graduated high school 2018, and at that point I was like, I'm not going to college. I kind of had like something set up that I was gonna go to this art school in Atlanta, and I was gonna go for music and blah blah blah. We toured the school, and like an overwhelming force of anxiety came over me. Like unexplainable. I didn't express this to you, and I didn't express it to mom at the time.
Oh yeah, I forgot it was mom that went. It was that school was so nice.
It was a very nice school, very nice school, but it just wasn't for me.
Right.
And every time they would email me, every time they would send me letters, it was just like I could just crumble into a ball. Like I didn't want to think about it. I didn't want to do it at all. So I graduated high school, and I told my dad, listen, I'm not going to college. And so he was like, well, you have to do something. Like, there has to be something. So I was like, okay, I'm moving to Atlanta. And so I'll move to Atlanta. I get some hookups. I'll hustle. I'll get a job. I'll work my ass off. Yeah, the grinding culture basically is what I thought I was gonna do. And so I was like, I'll get to Atlanta. I'll meet up with some people. Leah knows some people. There's some people on her campus I can, network with, and that whole thing. So I moved to Atlanta. I didn't find a job. Like it was harder than I thought to get a job in Atlanta. It's kind of hard, and especially if you don't have like a college degree. So this is
it's crazy to me.
I know, bro. Anyway, so I was in Atlanta for like 4 months.
We moved into our apartment in July because I had came back here for the summer. We moved in July, and then you left around Mama's birthday, so in November.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So for a few months, and I didn't find a job, and I kept thinking and going back and forth in my head, maybe I should just go to that school. Maybe I should just go to school and just bite down and just do that. But I was like, every time I thought about it, I was like, you're not staying true to yourself. Like you said you didn't want to go to school. Like, people's minds change, don't get me wrong. But I wouldn't have been doing it for me. I would have been doing it for everybody else. You know what I mean? So I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't, like, when I tell you depression and anxiety hit me like a ton of bricks, I have never in my life been as depressed as I was when I moved to Atlanta. Like, and I'm not saying anything bad about the city or anything. Like, Georgia's a great place. We, have family down there and everything is great. But it just wasn't for me at that time. So I moved back home, and my parents like weren't together anymore. So I moved back in with my dad.
We love him.
We love you, Dad. We love you, Dad, so much. But I moved back in with my dad, and it was like he didn't tell me I had to do anything, but of course it was there.
That energy
was there. Like it was like just kind of like looking at me like, what the hell are you gonna do?
And it's like, I'm sorry, not even because this is the thing with Dad. Like, if you really sit there and talk to him and dissect him, he really don't be trying to make you feel like that.
No,
but it's just a situation where you've already put that expectation on yourself because of how you were programmed.
Right, man, right. So anyway, I just got home, and I was like, I told my mom and my sister when I moved back down here, I was like, I'm gonna like, do hair. Because I like doing hair. My mom does hair. She's been a hairstylist for over 20 years, so I was like, I've seen my mom do it. It's not hard to me. Right. Hair is not hard. I love doing my own hair when I had it. I don't have it anymore. But I love doing my sister's hair. Like, people, would just come for me to do their hair because it was easy to me. And so I was like, well, I'm good at it. I always get compliments on my hair, and my sister gets compliments on her hair when I do it. So I was like, why not? And so I came back home, and I enrolled in barber school. Because I was like, I can cut hair. Like, this would be fun. Yay. No, was it? Anyway, so I went to barbering school in February. I got back here in November, and I went to school in February. And it was a great school, nice nice people. The students were kind of iffy, you know, because it's barber school. We kind of had some hood people up in there, but it was cool, whatever. But
no more people be watching this. Like, did you hear that?
they know they hood shit. I was like, no. Anyway, but it was a really good school, and for the time being, for the first maybe month and a half, I thought I was gonna be in that shit for real. I was like, yeah, man, I'll be over here cutting hair. You gonna tell me shit? I'm gonna be making my money.
Well, I was so excited because you wanted to cut hair when you was in Atlanta, because that's when you had your haircut and you went to that one barbershop and you was like, I can just do this shit myself.
Yeah, because I was just seeing like how the flow was of the barbershop.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I was a kid, I always used to be amazed by the salon and by the barbershop. Just how, you know, things flow and conversations go, especially like in black barbershops. Like I love it. Like even now, like I mean, I don't get my hair cut anymore, but when I used to love it. So yeah, like I was like, I could do this shit, and it was fun. You know, the people in class, everybody was cool, and then cause you know, like for like I think it's 3 months you're in the classroom and you're doing book work, which book work. I've been doing book work my entire life, so it was no big deal for me. Like, it was just, you know, kind of listening to what the teacher was saying and writing the shit down. And then, of course, we had to do, like, sometimes we would cut on the mannequin and stuff like that. So it was kind of hands-on, but not too hands-on. So when I had to get out on the floor and actually start cutting people's hair and having clients and stuff, that's where the anxiety kicked in. And of course, you know, I know people are going to be like, well, you know, you just have to get over that. And of course, I know, like, you
weren't afraid that you would fuck somebody's hair up. It was something else.
Nah, I don't think I was scared I would fuck somebody's hair up. I think it made it real. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Like this is really the path.
This is the path I'm going in. Before, you fucking cutting on a mannequin. So it's like, it's not real. It doesn't feel real to you. And anybody's hair that I did before, I knew. So it was like, it wasn't no big deal. But this time I was like, huh, like this is real right here.
This is my life.
Right, this is my life. So the night before, I had to go out on the floor and actually.
That's when you called me?
Yeah, I had a mental breakdown. Like, just terrible.
Child, it was 3 a.m. my time. I was trying to get up on out of bed. It was 3
out of bed or what?
To answer the phone.
Oh, well, you made it seem like you was doing something. Anyway. Yeah, I just had like a complete breakdown. I called her and I was like, listen, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't want to go to school. I can't do this anymore. This is not fun. This is not for me. And she basically was just like, listen, like, nobody's forcing you to go to school. Like, you have to do it for yourself. If it's not for you, it's not for you. Like, go to school tomorrow. See if it's, you know, if you know, what's going on. If you're feeling it, if you're not feeling it, just go in there and, you know, try it. And I was like, okay, I'll go. I didn't go. I woke up and, like, was having, like, heart palpitations. Like, I couldn't go.
I was going to say, a wise person once said, I was watching this video, and basically she said, like, if you are not supposed to be in that space, literally, if you are not supposed to be in your space, not only will your soul let you know, but your ancestors, baby, your spirit guides, all of that is gonna let you know you ain't supposed to be in this space. It's not your path. This ain't it. So I feel like that's what happened.
That's exactly what happened. And I was feeling, I was dealing with other stuff. You know, it was a lot of other stuff that I was dealing with at that time. But school was the main thing. And everybody, like, when I say everybody, I mean you, mom, and dad, were telling me, like, okay, because I was really still kind of depressed at that time. And they were like, you need to talk to somebody. And I was like, you know, I don't want to feel like I need to talk to somebody. Like, of course, you know, when people tell you that, you're like, just our culture, when I say our culture, I mean black people, we
feel like therapy.
Right, we kind of feel like, and that's kind of how we're programmed to believe. Like, therapy wasn't really a thing that we thought that we should do or we even talked about. So I was doing a whole bunch of stuff, and I remember, like, okay, I'm going to go to school. And I went to school I think that week after the whole breakdown. And as soon as I pulled up to the school, my heart sank into my stomach. I called my sister again, and she was like, just go in. If you can't make it in, just leave. Like, what they gonna do? Like, just leave. Like, if you can't do it, just leave. So I went in, and I was there for maybe an hour, and, we were doing classwork, and we had to go out on the floor. I mean, I tell you, as soon as I got on the floor, I literally ran out of the school. Like, ran out of the school, ran into my car, and just had a meltdown. Like, crying, just breathing heavily, like I couldn't do it. And I was having anxiety. I never had one, like a real heavy one until that moment, so I didn't know what was happening. Like, it just felt like I was about to die, really. And so once I calmed myself down, like, I went back in and I told I think I finished that day, either that or I went home at lunch or something like that. But after that, I didn't go back to school. That was my last day. Like, I went on this.
I remember you called me and said that you was withdrawn.
Yeah, I was like, this is my last day. Like, and I kind of went on this soul searching thing like the next day or whatever, and I just kind of went back. And it's kind of funny how this correlates to school and like college, but I remember being like, I was listening to a song or something, and it was like, you have to go backwards in order to go forward sometimes. And so I don't know what happened, but I was just driving in my car one day, and I look up and I'm at my very first school. Like, my very first school, not even intentionally, just there. And I remember being like, damn, this is where everything started, and just all these feelings of, being a kid and feeling free just came over me. And I was like, I had to really look into myself and say, do you feel that right now? And the answer was, of course, no. So I was like, I need to get back to that little kid, to journey on the playground, playing with her friends and jumping rope and shit like that. I need to get back to that.
You need to get back to who you truly are.
Right.
Y'all know, I already told y'all I'm animated, but I'm also an empath. So I literally, as you're speaking, I'm literally feeling what you're saying, because it's like bro, we need to listen to ourselves, bro. Like, you need to listen to that inner being in you. Like, you pulled up at Pleasant Hill, I didn't even realize you was there.
I didn't even realize where I was going. I was just going through the neighborhood, and I look over, and I'm like, that's fucking Pleasant Hill.
It's your soul, like, literally, it knows where to go, like, and then everything, all of your questions was answered. You need to be who you are. Like, that's just what it is. And I think look, we need to really understand and sit back. Ain't nobody thinking. Ain't nobody trying to think. And it's okay. I get it. I understand we've been programmed not to think. But you kind of have to step out of the fog real quick and be like, look at this educational system. Let's take a step back out of the fog, out of the matrix. And let's say, wow, what was this educational system set up on? Really think. Like, really think. Really think. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with getting an education. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with learning. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with knowing. But at the same time, we're not looking at how things are fucking structured. We're not looking at what type of learning and educational system we're actually in.
Right, man.
We're not looking at that. And then you have people who fucking can't take the shit. And then you got people who are judging other people because, you didn't go to college.
Right. And you have to think about, like
what?
You have to think when you see people after they get out of college, like, sometimes, like, I just want to, like, give them a hug. You know what I mean? Because, like my best friend, he's older than me, he's graduated already. And, like, I just want to be like, just come here. Like, I see it. Like, it's just, like, so much on you. The same with you when you graduated. She fucking graduated this year, so, like, 2020, she couldn't actually walk. But, like, she couldn't have a graduation. But we had something here at the house, so, like, she kind of walked anyway. But I could just feel, like, a relief, like, coming out of you. But also another kind of layer or another obstacle you felt like you had to get over. Because people be like, okay, now what? Like, what are you gonna do now?
Literally, that
and it's
pisses
like,
me off.
Bitch,
like,
I just walked. Like,
I
2
literally,
seconds ago.
literally, what pisses me off, bro, and, you know, I love my family. If y'all listen to this, I love y'all to death. But don't ask me what I'm gonna do. Please don't, like, if I literally graduated May 18, 2020, and May 19, 2020, you ask me what I'm gonna do, why? I literally just went through a major shift, especially during this ascension period, especially doing all of what's going on in 2020. You want to ask me what I'm trying to do?
Yeah, man.
Maybe I'm trying to survive.
Right,
I'm trying
to fucking live my life. Like when Charlene graduated, who's our cousin, another shout out. We mentioned her in every video.
Like every podcast.
She gonna be in one of these episodes soon. Anyway, yo, when she graduated, I mean, literally, she graduated and then we had a party, had a celebration. Everybody was, okay, so what's the plan now? What you gonna do now? Blah, blah, blah. And of course, Charlene's the type of person that will give you an answer. She's not like, just leave me the hell alone. Like, she'll give you an answer. But I was just like, look, if you want to tell them fuck off, tell them fuck off. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be like an asshole, but it's your life. It's not theirs.
And
you know, you ain't paying their bills. They ain't paying yours. Why they worried about it?
And this is the thing. I get it. Like, y'all know I get it. I understand why we ask those questions because we've been programmed to ask those questions. But this is the thing. We need to stop giving the excuse of us being programmed and actually think. Like, we need to think.
That's
because
an excuse to me.
And and it's just like, honestly, you're not thinking about how that's making that person feel, because it's like, bro, you didn't understand my depression these 4 years. You didn't understand my anxiety these 4 years. You didn't understand late nights and early mornings. You didn't understand 11:59 a paper is due and you gotta hurry up and get that shit. Like, you're not understanding all of that shit on top of trying to figure out who the fuck remember who you are, and then you want to ask me the next day or even the day of what I'm gonna do next. Right. It's just kind of like it makes that person feel like, fuck, I'm supposed to know what I'm gonna do. I'm supposed to know. Even now, like, a lot of people will say, oh, I'm about to start my own business. That's me. I'm about to start my own business or whatever. Okay, well, what you gonna do with that? Well, then all the questions.
How you gonna make money from that? How you gonna do, like? First of all, I'm not making money. I'm not doing this to make money.
Right.
And I think that's what we have to really understand in life. Like, yeah, you need money to survive. I'm not saying you don't, which is a fucking shit show.
Y'all better, y'all better tap into this Ascension Day, because that ain't gonna be no.
No, but anyway, it's crazy. It's crazy as it is. Like, we really shouldn't have to have money to survive. I mean,
literally,
I think that's
like,
just stupid as hell. Anyway, that's a whole nother topic. What was I saying?
Another system that we need to dismantle. But
honestly, what was I saying? Oh yeah, people feel like, you know, like you have to make money in order to. If it don't make money, it don't make sense. It's kind of the way of the world,
right?
And it's like, why is that? You know what I mean? Like, what if what I want to do, and like doesn't make any kind of money? What if I work at a grocery store? No problem with working at a grocery store. If you work there, perfectly fine. What if you love working at the grocery store?
Right.
Like, you just love putting shit on shelves, checking people out. Like, that is your passion. You love
you literally love working at that grocery store, but then you got people judging you.
You got people judging you like, why are you working at a grocery store? Like, you ain't making nothing but minimum wage. You ain't like, bitch, if I'm happy, that's the only thing you should be worried about. You know what I mean? And I think that's what we as people, as friends, as siblings, as parents, as human beings should ask one another. I don't care what you're doing. As long as you're not hurting nobody, are you happy? You know what I mean? Like, seriously.
Literally, like, we're not looking at those aspects. And like I said, because you got a lot of people who are in the educational system to dismantle the specific standards of the educational system and to bring a different type of education to light, and that's perfectly fine. Like, I'm not saying don't go to college. I'm not saying none of that. All I'm saying is, because like I said, college was for me. It was for Charlene, because I mean, we kind of like one and the same when it comes to that. It's for a lot of people that are my friends and family and stuff, but it's also not for a lot of people. So you just kind of have to step back and be like, okay, why is it not for those people? Why is it for those people? What's really going on in the educational system? And then how can I stop judging others because their path does not look like mine?
Right.
Like, that's literally what it is. Like, we get, and my thing is, I'm not saying there's anything wrong or right with judging others or whatever, because at the end of the day, that's kind of what we've been conditioned to do. But all I'm saying is think. How does it make you feel when you sit there and judge somebody else?
Right, it's not doing anything to you.
Exactly.
Right, like, I don't understand. You're not gaining from it. What the hell are you gaining from judging somebody else?
Exactly. So all I'm saying is that it's okay. Like, even class of 2021, this is me coming from class of 2020. It is perfectly okay to not have to explain to someone else what you choose to do with your life. And it is perfectly okay if your path, your tank, your garden, whatever, does not look like someone else's. We have to stop comparing our garden to someone else's. You're trying to water your garden with the same water that they water their garden with, and that ain't fueling your happiness.
Right.
It's not. So it's just like, it's just a situation where you really need to think and talk about it and understand and come from compassion. And also, people don't understand that post and pre-grad depression is real. People think that, oh, you graduated from college, so you should be straight. You don't post and pre-grad depression is something fucking serious. Before I even graduated, I was depressed. Mm-hmm. After I graduated, I was depressed because it was just it's a situation of transitioning. I'm transitioning, and I'm trying.
No transition to me is 100% comfortable.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you're gonna be uncomfortable. It's really at the end of the day, you take it how you want to take it. Mm-hmm. I think, and that's, like we say all the time on the podcast, it's really just our opinions, mm-hmm. and kind of we're just speaking from experience. So you take it how you want to, but I think. So,
really?
Yeah, we just hit an hour. So, yeah, man, I think at the end of the day, college is for some people. It's not for some people. I mean, that's just
the bet.
That's just what it is.
So, yeah.
Yeah, man.
We love you. Don't forget to, if you're watching this video YouTube, don't forget to hit that bell, hit that subscribe button down below. We love y'all. We thank you so much for the love and the support. Don't forget to keep giving us topics. Don't forget to keep giving us feedback, and stay tuned and all that good stuff. Stay tuned for the next episode and keep it real.
Keep it real. Peace.